Ormond Beach City Commission to order. It is 7 p.m. and I'll just read a brief statement here. Commissioner Kent desires to participate in the meeting by electronic means due to a health or medical issue. The Florida Attorney General has issued several legal opinions that a member of a local board or commission may be allowed to participate in a public meeting through electronic means in extraordinary circumstances when a quorum of the commission is otherwise physically present at the meeting. The Attorney General has consistently opined that absence due to a health or medical condition constitutes an extraordinary circumstance that will allow the absent member to participate in the meeting through electronic means. We have a quorum physically present here tonight with 4 members of the commission, and in the absence of an objection by any member of the commission who is physically present, Commissioner Kent will be allowed to participate in the meeting through electronic means. So hearing no objection, we will welcome Commissioner Kent electronically, and I hope you felt welcomed when you came in this evening. Our Information Technology Director, Aaron Irwin, and Deputy Fire Chief Tom Bazanos served as our greeters this evening. I'd like to introduce the folks sitting up in front of you. To my right, your left, is Recording Secretary Taylor Lockhart. Acting City Clerk Wendy Hantz. I think she's finishing up down in front. Yep. And then City Attorney Randy Hayes. Commissioner from Zone 1, Dwight Selby.
Good evening.
Our on the screen is our Commissioner from Zone 2, Troy Kent.
Good evening, everybody.
To my left and your right, our Deputy Mayor and Zone 3 Commissioner Susan Persis.
Good evening, everyone.
Commissioner Rob Littleton from Zone 4. And also down in front, City Manager Joyce Shanahan, along with the Assistant City Manager Claire Whitley. And for those of you listening online, I'm Mayor Bill Partington. If you would, please silence your cell phones. Make sure that those are turned off, and rise for the invocation given tonight by Pastor Kevin Mahoney of Rema Ridge Baptist Church, and that'll be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we come before you and we thank you for this opportunity to be here tonight. We thank you for the great opportunity to live in such a great community. Lord, we lift up our board to you tonight, the mayor and each one. We lift up the one, Lord, taking through tonight because of medical. Lord, we ask you to touch him. Lord, thank you for our police officers, our firefighters, and all those first responders, and those working in the hospitals, especially those that are working in COVID. We stand strength for them, especially those that are struggling with the virus. Lord, we ask that you touch our military around the world that are protecting the freedom for us to even be here tonight. Thank you so much for them. Lord, I ask that everything that's done in this meeting tonight be with great knowledge, but also great business. Lord, thank you again for the opportunity to be here. These things we pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
I pledge
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated, and I'll ask Ned Huta and his family to come forward, or Ned, whoever you want. Come on down. Most of you know Ned. He is our retired Information Technology Director, and he did an amazing job for our city for a number of years, and so it's my honor to present him with this proclamation, and I'll have you hold that while I read it. Whereas Ned Huta was responsible for overseeing all technology-related issues and states of affairs while also implementing solutions in support of business objectives during his time working for the city of Ormond Beach. Ned started working in the IT department in June of 2004. And whereas Ned grew up outside of Florida and moved to this area in 1978 when General Electric brought his family south from Syracuse, New York. Ned graduated from Mainland High School in 1980. Go Bucks. Buck pride never dies. He received 2 associate degrees from Daytona State College, formerly Daytona Beach Community College, and completed his bachelor and master degrees from the University of Central Florida in 1990 and 1992, respectively. A lot of people don't know Ned's very thorough career, but he's worked for numerous companies across our community, including Brown & Brown, Cobb Cole & Bell, and also Halifax Medical Center. And whereas Ned met a young woman named Pam right after high school, they dated for 5 years, they married, built their home in Ormond Beach 2 years later, and welcomed a daughter, Lauren, in 1990. Ned is not the only one in his family who worked in Ormond Beach. Both Pam and Lauren work at local elementary schools on Beachside and the mainland. Ned and his family enjoy the quality of life that Ormond Beach provides for its residents. And whereas Ned volunteered his time with the Kiwanis Club of the Trails as a member and president for 1 year from 2004 through 2008, Ned has been actively engaged in the Florida Local Government Information Systems Association since 2006. He served as Central East Director from 2008 to 2010, Treasurer from 2010 to 2013, Vice President from 2013 to 2014, and then President from 2014 to 2016 and 2016 to 2018. While part of this organization, Ned participated as a mentor from 2008 through 2011. He also received his Certified Government Chief Information Officer certification from the Florida Institute of Government at Florida State University in July 2007 as part of the inaugural class, all the while working for and protecting Ormond Beach and our needs. So the CGCIO certification is nationally recognized and was developed as a partnership between the association and FSU. Since his initial certification, Ned has fulfilled the triannual recertification requirements 4 times and fulfilled the current requirements for recertification a year in advance. Ned was recognized by the association for his many accomplishments in 2016 and again in July of 2021 for his invaluable counseling to the board of directors and members during his service. Ned's longevity and dedication to the association was also part of the recent recognition ceremony. Ned retired just recently on August 2nd, 2021, after 17 years of service to the residents and city of Ormond Beach. He plans to spend time with his family, go snow skiing, tinker with mechanical objects, and travel on his motorcycle with friends. We appreciate all that Ned has done and wish him the best in his future endeavors. So now, therefore, I, Bill Partington, on behalf of this entire commission, our city manager, and all of our staff, hereby proclaim today, August 17th, 2021, as a day to recognize Ned Huda in the city of Ormond Beach and encourage all residents to join me in wishing Ned the best in his well-deserved retirement. Congratulations. You're going to need more hands. There we go. But wait, there's more. This is the part that's really great. I was just at a conference where cybersecurity was a huge issue for cities, and knowing that Ned was president of the association that was giving this particular presentation, I knew already that Ormond Beach was well protected. I listened to what the requirements were, what you had to know in order to be sure that you were well protected. I emailed our city manager. I said, have we done this, this, and this? And she said, of course, yes, that's been done several years ago. by Ned Huta. So you know he's been looking out for your interest and our interest, protecting our city from cyber attacks, which is a huge issue. And so we have great insurance for that, thanks to you, and we can all sleep a little safer at night. Ned, for all that and everything else you've done for the city, I want to present you with the key to the city of Ormond Beach, and thank you.
Oh, yeah, okay.
We did change the passwords though, Ned. Yeah.
And before Ned gets too far away, I know Commissioner Kent wouldn't want to let the opportunity to comment on 17 years of service. So I'll let him unmute and have just a moment.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Ned, I when I saw this on the agenda, I was so disappointed that I wasn't going to be there in person to congratulate you. But, you know, everything the mayor said is absolutely accurate and true, and you've done a great job for the city of Ormond Beach. But you also, you know, made sure that, you know, you did it with your head high, and there were never any issues or concerns with Ned Huta. You have been a class act and someone that I am proud to have worked alongside, and in addition to that, someone I'm proud to call friend. I wish you and your family the absolute best. You definitely deserve it.
Awesome.
Yeah, and Mayor, I was just going to say, I think retirement is really agreeing with you already. You look fantastic.
Good stuff. Thank you, Ned. Appreciate it. All right. Now we have a presentation from Halifax Health. We have with us Dr. Rafael Ramirez. I'll give you a little bit of a promotion there.
Thank you, Mayor and Commissioners. Good to see you all. My name is Rafael Ramirez, and I live at 23 Eagle Court. Proud citizen of Ormond Beach since 1987, when I met Dwight at a party that I keep myself the details to. I'm here. I'm a proud Ormond resident. I want to recognize Mr. Carl Cursis, who is one of our foundation board members and a good friend too. So I'm here for one reason, to present some statistics about the census of patients that we have at the hospital, to hopefully promote people for considering getting vaccinated. It's really a very debated issue. I'm not here to debate, but I'm just going to present some statistics that refer to the benefits of having been vaccinated. The data I'm going to present to you and is summarized here in the slide. Sorry, can you see it? You can see it, okay. It's of yesterday. Today is not over, so I couldn't tally up what's happening today. But as of yesterday, we had, it's not reflected there, we had a census of 541 patients in all three hospitals, in all sections of the hospitals. 162 of those were positive, COVID positive, and you see the breakdown, 80%, a little over 80%, or 131 of them are not vaccinated. Out of the 162 patients, 47% went to the ICU And you see the breakdown, about 85% are unvaccinated. And then beyond that, 32 of them were on ventilators, and again, 86% of them were unvaccinated. The average age of all those patients is 62 years old. The average age of those that are vented is 76. The average age is slowly coming down, and locally, as of yesterday, we only had a 14-year-old kid. We have not seen some of the pediatrics or some of the younger population statistics locally like we see somewhere else. So time will tell with school going on, and we'll see. So the breakthrough of vaccinated patients is less than 20%. This indicates, of course, statistically that you are better protected, and if you get COVID, you are also better protected not to get it so hard and be a little safer. So that's really important. Like all hospitals, we are slammed, and beds are tight, but we are not full, and we are scrubbed and ready, as we say in our marketing. We're still carrying the difference between 541 and 162 COVID patients versus regular patients that need emergency medical attention. They need stroke, cardiac, pain, trauma, emergency, and other types of disease. They need to be cared for. And so we're ready and able to do that. The bigger issue that I told the mayor I wanted to address also is something that maybe we all need to start talking about is alternative care. Everybody's EDs are slammed, super slammed. Luckily in Daytona we have the largest emergency department in the state of Florida, but even at that, we have a neonatal unit, we have a stroke center, and other types of pods in that unit that are reserved for those patients. So it's really important that if our residents don't have a non-life-threatening medical need, that they consider going to our express care centers, urgent cares, because for one, the wait is going to be a lot less. Hours are open 7 days a week, and the care they'll receive is totally adequate, including stitches, broken bones, and things like that. So that's important of a message for other people that need that kind of care. So that's really it. I have other information, but I wanted to keep it short in case there are either any questions or as a courtesy to other speakers.
Thank you. Any questions for Rafael? I appreciate you taking
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Very much.
Taking the time. And so the vaccination is something people should consider, talk to their doctor about, make their own personal choice if they're not already vaccinated. I think a lot of people are. Most people looking at the data seem to be trending that way towards getting the vaccination. And then as far as the emergency room situation, if you feel the need to go to the emergency room and it's not a heart attack or a stroke, maybe you should consider the express care route. Just good deal. Thank you. Thank you for that. All right, at this time, I have 2 cards for audience remarks, and we will start with Bill Denny.
Good day. I'm Bill Denny from 1027 North Halifax Drive. I wanted to request the Commission hold a series of public forums or listening sessions to allow the citizens of Ormond Beach to discuss the negative impact of Avalon Park development. The action goes back to the City Commission meeting of December 15th of 2020 when the Commissioner Selby made a motion to hold a workshop about Avalon Park. I think Commissioner Selby had the best quote: "There's no bigger threat to the quality of life for the citizens of Ormond Beach than the development of Avalon Park." All the other commissioners spoke negatively of the development and voted unanimously to hold a workshop on February 23rd. To my knowledge, no workshop has been held yet. I understand that there have been changes to the development that might complicate the assessment of Avalon Park, and but we should address these impacts sooner than later. What has brought this concern back to the foreground for me is the Ormond Beach Observer and Darlene did an interesting series of question and answers with the commissioners in June and July. All the commissioners, Selby, Kent, Persis, and Littleton, all expressed concern about the negative impact of Avalon Park, with Littleton providing it as his lead issues, stating, "We can't stop the development, but I'm going to do all I can to make sure the project doesn't turn West Granada into a bumper-to-bumper traffic." Commissioner Persis, in addition to her comments about Avalon, closed her question and answer with wanting the city to have more opportunities for the public to have input on matters of great community interest. So I'm asking what I understand the commissioners want: a collaboration, a collaborative effort between the city staff, the commissioners, and the citizens of Ormond Beach on the pressing issue of Avalon Park. So in closing, the civil discourse and common ground just wants citizens to have the opportunity to discuss issues that impact their lives before decisions have been locked in. So I've asked the city to hold a series of public listening sessions to discuss Avalon Park and what the city can do to mitigate the impacts. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Next is Ike Leary.
Good evening, Ike Leary. Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, and staff. Last month I was in Sarasota, and they had a main street that's a lot like ours. They also have the lantern lights with the little banners hanging off of them. And what they do is their downtown merchants put advertisement up on them banners, which I thought was a great idea. Ormond Beach could kind of keep your eye on what's going up there as far as the banners, and the Main Street merchants would have the opportunity to do a little advertising. I don't know if it's handled by Ormond, the Chamber, or Ormond Main Street, but I just thought it was a good idea, and I would be happy to do whatever I could do to work on it.
Thank you, Ike.
Otherwise, Casden Park's doing great. People's fishing, eating hot dogs, eating ice cream. What else could you ask for?
That's right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ike.
Get well, Troy.
We will note that the minutes from the City Commission meeting of July 13th, 2021 and July 20th, 2021 have been sent to the Commission for review, also posted to the city's website. Any additions, deletions, or corrections?
You want a motion for both?
That'd be great.
Okay, I'll move the minutes of July 13th and July 20th.
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed, like sign, and we'll show those passing unanimously. The consent agenda action proposed is stated for each item on the agenda. Unless a commissioner removes an item, no discussion on individual items will occur, and a single motion will approve all items. Does any member wish to pull any item from the consent agenda?
Mayor, I'd like to pull item N, as in Nancy.
I move
Motion.
approval. Oh, I'm sorry. Are you talking?
No, go ahead.
Okay. I move approval of the consent agenda minus item N.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Please call the vote.
Commissioner Selby,
Yes.
Commissioner Kent,
Yes.
Commissioner Persis,
Yes.
Commissioner Littleton,
Yes.
Mayor Partington.
Yes. And 7N.
Request for proposals for Phase 2 environmental site assessment and debris removal.
And Commissioner Selby, did you want to talk first, or you want a motion and second for discussion?
I can go either way, whatever you prefer.
I move approval of item N.
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded. Commissioner Selby.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Well, this is the property at 385 South Old Kings Road, which is, for those in the audience, it's a little bit north of Division. It's 3 or 4 acres. We put it under contract in 2019, I believe, and we just recently closed on it. The city recently closed on it. We bought the land because the land fronts on the lake that's behind the Environmental Discovery Center. We originally offered $285,000 for the property. The property had obvious, serious environmental issues. There were approximately 35 or 40, I believe, 55-gallon drums on the property with unknown contents. There were numerous abandoned vehicles on the property. There was a couple of structures that needed to be removed also, as well as many used tires, vehicle tires. At the time, I voted for this at the time. It was unanimous to purchase it. The price was $285,000. There was a requirement that the seller would clean up the property, would remove those environmental concerns prior to closing, and there was a $65,000 escrow amount that if the seller didn't clean up the property within a specified time frame, that the seller could forfeit that $65,000. And the rationale, I assume, it was that $65,000 would cover the cost. Well, I've been a commercial real estate broker, and I said this at the time that we put it under contract. That's not how you do it. The way you do it is you make the seller clean the property up before you close on it. And the reason I say that, and the reason I'm making a big deal out of this, is I'm a taxpayer in this town. But I know how commercial real estate deals are supposed to be done. There was no urgency to buy this property because nobody else would have bought it. All you had to do, and I did this, I drove out on the property and I looked at it, and there's no way anybody else would have bought it in its condition that it was in. And so the $65,000 turned into $120,000. Okay, that was about 4 or 5 months ago. And now the estimate is $175,000 to clean up the property. So we did keep the the price did get reduced from $285,000 to $225,000, which is actually a $60,000 reduction, not a $65,000 reduction. But anyway, our net purchase price was $225,000. And we now estimate that it's going to cost $175,000 to clean it up. So add that to the price. And what I'm saying is, the bottom line on this property is that if the seller had done what they should do, we probably would have got this, basically we'd pay almost nothing for this property because nobody else would buy it anyway. So I'm disappointed that I voted for the original purchase because of the structure of the transaction. It's going to end up costing, I think we'll be lucky to find somebody who will agree in advance to clean up all the stuff that's on the property, it's heavily overgrown, for a fixed price. I think at best what we're going to get is somebody say, well, I'll do it for X, but if this runs over, that runs over, I got to charge you for that also. And it's conceivable to me that it would cost more than the purchase price of the property to clean it up, which means that obviously our cost doubles. And I'm just disappointed that we are in this position because, number one, in my opinion, there was no rush to buy this because nobody else would have bought it. It's basically really kind of swampland. I mean, it's low, It's wet, it's moist, it's not very desirable land at all. I think it's valuable that the city owns it and makes it part of Central Park, and I think it's important to have it, but I think what we're going to end up having in it, our total acquisition and cleanup price, is exorbitant and not a good use of taxpayer money. So with that, I'm going to vote no on this. It really simply as a protest, because what are we going to do? We got to clean it up. We own it. We don't have any option, but I'm still going to vote no. I should have voted no on the original acquisition, not because I didn't want to buy it, but because of the structure of the transaction. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Commissioner. Anyone else? Commissioner Kent?
No.
All right. Wendy, please call the vote.
Commissioner Kent,
Yes.
Commissioner Persis,
Yes.
Commissioner Littleton,
Yes.
Commissioner Selby,
No.
Mayor Partington.
Yes. And now would be the appropriate time for any commissioners who wish to comment on any of the consent agenda items.
Mayor, I'd like to comment on item G.
Yes, sir.
First, item G is the acquisition of new radios. We're buying 380 radios for all of our police officers, our fire fighters, several for public works, some for parks and rec. And we're buying this we're tagging on to Volusia County's contract, and they're P25 compliant. Which, let me see if I remember what P25 means, but P25 is the new standard nationwide for emergency communications. And we're spending $800,000 to do that, but this is federal money that we're getting through ARPA, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct? CARES Act money, yeah. So it's your money. You sent to the Fed. Well, actually, the Feds don't have the money yet. They're going to tax us in some other way and then give it to us now, and we're going to spend it to do this. But so it feels good. Also wanted to comment on the items J and K, which were added to the agenda today. These are grants that we approved, applications for grants from the FAA for the airport, a $59,000 grant with rescue funds, and a $2.3, almost $2.4 million grant to rehab and resurface taxiways Bravo and Delta. So B and D. Bravo is the main runway that runs, I guess, sort of north-south there, right along the it's the longest runway, and then Delta runs out to the east-west runway. So good work on the staff. That's great stuff. While it's time sensitive, for some reason we only got 10 days advance notice from the FAA. It was bizarre.
They never give us any advance notice.
I mean, it's just, when I saw that the agenda was being changed today, I was surprised, but then when I saw the letter from the FAA that we had to, all the things we have to do in 10 days in order to qualify for this money.
It's their time schedule, not
Yeah,
ours.
exactly. So, that's it, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Purcell.
Yes, I just wanted to comment on items G and H and just say that I'm just very happy we're getting these radios for our first responders, and basically they ensure the city remains compatible with the county emergency communication system. That's very important, so just wanted to mention that as well.
And Mayor, I would like to commend staff for item I, which is the new playground that's coming to Central Park off of Fleming Avenue. I love what staff picked out and who were choosing to build that, and I think it's really going to invigorate that whole area and that whole park. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Commissioner Kent, anything? Good deal. We will move to public hearings. I will open the public hearings, and we will start with 8A.
Ordinance number 2021-25, an ordinance amending Chapter 1, General Administration, Article 3, Definitions and Acronyms, Section 1-22, Definitions of Terms and Words, and Chapter 3, Performance Standards, Article 2, Environmental Protection Standards of the City of Ormond Beach Land Development Code by amending the floodplain management and protection regulations and repealing all inconsistent ordinances or parts thereof, providing for applicability, severability, and an effective date. This is the second reading of ordinance number 2021-25, read by title only.
Thank you. I have one card from Donna Smith.
My name's Donna Smith, and I live at 1066 Shopping Drive in Ormond Beach. And the reason that I wanted to speak on this item is I saw in the newspaper about how there are differences of opinion with what should be done with federal funds for as far as water and runoff. And there are two people on the board that are disagreeing. And I just want to bring up a third possibility, and that would be septic to sewer conversion. I live on the Tomoka River, and I live across from the Tomoka Marsh Aquatic Preserve. And if you look that up in Google, you'll be very surprised to see how they talk about it. It's an estuary, and it's an aquifer, and it is a manatee preserve. And it is in danger because of all the septic tanks in my neighborhood, not just in my neighborhood, but in other neighborhoods. So I would like to propose that perhaps when federal funds become available for such things as improving water quality, that septic transfers to sewer would be up there on the top of the list. There are other communities that are doing it. The Barrett was in the paper yesterday that they're going to convert 23,000 septic tanks to sewer. And I live on a road that goes out to US 1, but that butts right up against Ormond Lakes, which has sewer and water available. Everyone in our neighborhood has a drilled well for water and a septic tank. My house is about 50 plus years old, and there are many houses along Shopping Drive that age. The lots are small, and there's not enough room to replace a well and a septic. It has to be, well, I don't know, but we had trouble replacing our well when it got salt intrusion because it has to be 75 feet away from the septic. So I think we are in a dangerous position, and we've been fighting for this for 24 years. So I hope you will consider septic to sewer. Other commissioners and other towns have been more than happy to do so. Thank you.
Thank you, Donna.
Move approval.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Please call the vote.
Commissioner Persis,
Yes.
Commissioner Littleton,
Yes.
Commissioner Selby,
Yes.
Commissioner Kent,
Yes.
Mayor Partington.
Yes. 8B.
Ordinance number 2021-26, an ordinance amending Chapter 3, Performance Standards, Article 5, Utility and Infrastructure Design Standards, Section 3-61, Utility Line Extensions of the Land Development Code to require water and sewer lines be extended across the site frontage for new development where utility extensions are required, repealing all inconsistent ordinances or parts thereof, providing for severability, and setting forth an effective date. This is the second reading of ordinance number 2021-26, read by title only.
Thank you. I don't have any cards.
I move approval of ordinance number 2021-26.
Second the motion.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Yeah, I just have one comment. I reached out to Dwight Durant, who spoke at the first reading on this on behalf of his client, Ormond Crossings, and he replied via email that they were comfortable with this proposed language.
Good deal. And thank you, Randy, for updating the language as we discussed. Any other comments or discussion? Please call the vote.
Commissioner Littleton,
Yes.
Commissioner Selby,
Yes.
Commissioner Kent,
Yes.
Commissioner Persis,
Yes.
Mayor Partington.
Yes. 8C.
Ordinance number 2021-27, an ordinance amending Chapter 2, District and General Regulations, Article 6, Overlay Districts, Section 2-70, Downtown Overlay District of the Land Development Code to update the section consistent with the 2019 Downtown Master Plan update, repealing all inconsistent ordinances or parts thereof, providing for severability, and setting forth an effective date. This is the second reading of ordinance number 2021-27, read by title only.
Thank you. I don't have any cards.
I move approval of ordinance number 2021-27.
Second?
Any discussion? Please call the vote.
Commissioner Selby,
Yes.
Commissioner Kent,
Yes.
Commissioner Persis,
Yes.
Commissioner Littleton,
Yes.
Mayor Partington.
Yes. 8D.
Ordinance number 2021-28, an ordinance amending Chapter 3, Performance Standards, Article 5, Utility and Infrastructure Design Standards, Section 3-55, Bicycle and Pedestrian Ways of the Land Development Code to allow payment in lieu of constructing sidewalks under certain conditions and requiring sidewalks on both sides of the street in new subdivisions, repealing all inconsistent ordinances or parts thereof, providing for severability, and setting forth an effective date. This is the second reading of ordinance number 2021-28, read by title only.
Thank you, Wendy.
I'll move 20-20 or 2021-28.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? Please call the vote.
Commissioner Kent,
Yes.
Commissioner Persis,
Yes.
Commissioner Littleton,
Yes.
Commissioner Selby,
Yes.
Mayor Partington.
Yes. 8E.
Ordinance number 2021-29, an ordinance amending Section 8-3 local amendments to Building Code of Article 1 in general of Chapter 8, Building and Construction Regulations of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Ormond Beach to amend the schedule of permit fees, repealing all inconsistent ordinances or parts thereof, and setting forth an effective date. This is the second reading of ordinance number 2021-29, read by title only.
I'll move for approval.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Please call the vote.
Commissioner Persis,
Yes.
Commissioner Littleton,
Yes.
Commissioner Selby,
Yes.
Commissioner Kent,
Yes.
Mayor Partington.
Yes. 8F.
Ordinance number 2021-30, an ordinance amending Section 8-10, application processing fees of Article 1 in general of Chapter 8, Building and Construction Regulations of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Ormond Beach to amend application processing fees, repealing all inconsistent ordinances or parts thereof, and setting forth an effective date. This is the second reading of ordinance number 2021-30, read by title only.
Move for approval of ordinance number 2021-30.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Please call the vote.
Commissioner Littleton,
Yes.
Commissioner Selby,
Yes.
Commissioner Kent,
Yes.
Commissioner Persis,
Yes.
Mayor Partington.
Yes. And Stephen, you got off easy tonight. That was a lot of second readings, but you did a good job, so thank you. We now move to, I'll make sure and close the public hearings. If I didn't just do that, we'll move to reports, suggestions, and requests, and start with our city manager, Joyce Shanahan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like to just take this opportunity to officially introduce Aaron Irwin, who joined the city of Ormond Beach as our new IT manager, replacing Ned Huda on Monday, July 26th. Aaron holds a bachelor's degree of public administration in information technology from State University of New York, Delhi, and has over 10 years experience in professional IT settings, the most recent being the IT director at the town of Ponce Inlet. Prior to that, Aaron worked in various private sector IT positions in New York after earning his degree. We're excited to welcome Aaron to the city of Ormond Beach and our leadership team, and are confident that he will continue to provide the high standards established by Ned and the entire IT division. Ned worked along with Aaron for the first week, so we had some transition, and they know each other well, so we are pleased that he will not be, oh, there he is. He's not alone. He has a phone a friend time anytime he needs it. So welcome, Aaron, and we're so glad you're with us. Thank you.
Welcome, Aaron.
Regarding Avalon Park, we went through the pandemic, and we're still going through that. In March of this year, I think it was March or April, the commission authorized staff to hire HDR transportation consultant. That's really the pivotal piece in understanding the impacts that Avalon Park will have on our community. We had a meeting with HDR this week to get some final details. Part of the holdup in the process was Avalon Park had only issued a tentative transportation impact methodology. They've finalized that now, which helps us understand what their impacts are going to be on our roadway. So I can't give you a date, and I know I frustrate the commission with that, but I think we're very close to having a time mid-September for a meeting to discuss those impacts with you. We also have a utility service agreement with Avalon Park, and we'll be discussing that with you. Most importantly, we have limited ability to effectuate change here, because the only thing that gives us standing with regard to Avalon Park is our utility agreement. So that is a way that we can interject ourselves into the process. What we hope to do is to provide information to the commission and the residents so that they can act independently and help put pressure on Volusia County and Daytona Beach to lessen the impacts of development. Since the original Avalon Park was first estimated at 10,000 homes, they have substantially changed their approach. They are now pursuing the Mento option, which is sort of Margaritaville Part 2. And in fact, they are looking to directly connect Timber Creek all the way through Margaritaville to LPGA. They're looking at the initial phase of 1,600 homes, and I think it's 200,000 square feet of retail space with a build-out somewhere 2030, I think. And then an additional 1,600 homes, thereabouts, to get them to a build-out of 3,000 homes by 2045. So that's their current time horizon. Those things can change. We are also in the process of scheduling a meeting with Beat Colley. I had met with him several months ago, and he expressed a willingness for our staffs to work together. Public Works primarily for utilities and transportation. I've contacted him several times to no avail, but he has come back to the table, so we will be working with them on that. So that's an update on that. There's no dragging of feet, it's just a matter of what the process is. And once we get that information, not only will we have a meeting with the commission about that, but our plan is to do much like we have said we would do, is a sort of a OB life type of series of meetings where we would talk about public safety impacts, environmental impacts, and transportation impacts, and the recreation impacts, because we know today that those things out west will generate additional pressures on our system. We don't necessarily have answers for that, but we can educate the public and let them put the pressure on Daytona and Volusia County to help effectuate some change there. So to some extent your hands are tied, but we're working with you to help educate the community. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Joyce. Any questions for the city manager?
Is that that's your only comment tonight? I mean, okay. All right. Yes, I do. I have a question.
Commissioner Self.
So, Joyce, one of the things I looked at when I looked at their preliminary plat for Avalon was they're proposing 40-foot lots in that initial development area that they're proposing on that preliminary plat, which leads me to believe that while they're while they're downplaying the number of units and they're going with the original, I think, and I don't know this, but I think what they're doing is they're condensing their approvals into a much smaller section of land, and then after they have sold those, then they're going to come back and expand their approvals. So I think and also it's important to note that Minto is selling, I think their sales rate right now is about 400 homes per year. So if Avalon was able to achieve a similar sales rate, then they could sell 1,600 homes in 4 years. So to say 2030 or 2045 might just be part of their marketing so that nobody gets concerned. And so that's all part of what I don't know, but I just suspect, because based on the money that they paid for the land, they need 10,000 homes and they need 1 million square feet of commercial. I mean, I haven't penciled it out, but I'm pretty dang confident that in order to get even just a marginal return on an investment, they need that much density. And I think it's good that Timber Creek is going to run all the way down to LPGA. That might, in fact, encourage some people to drive south instead of driving east. But still, if they want to go to the ocean or they want to go to a quaint downtown, they're coming to our downtown, period. I mean, and until Daytona, FDOT, whatever, figures out the LPGA bridge, give me a break. They're not going to go south because you can't go east. So it's and by the way, that was one of the things that Biot promised me and promised everybody and said publicly, was he was going to make the road improvements before he did anything else. And in the last 6, 9, months at least, I haven't heard anything about any road improvements whatsoever. So I don't know if he's still planning on doing that or not.
And if I just might respond to that one comment, we agree with your assessment about condensing the density, and personally I believe that he's going to incrementally try to amend that development order. And so we are very mindful of that in our discussions with HDO.
I do have another question for you, Joyce. I was on Airport Road the other day, and I drove by the golf course. And it occurred to me that there are 5 buildings, 3 very substantial buildings. The clubhouse, the old cart barn, and the maintenance shed are all, good-sized buildings. There are 2 other buildings on the golf course. They are restroom facilities that are out, out on the back 9 and out on the front 9. My question for you is, and you may not be prepared to answer this now, really 2 questions. One, are those buildings being maintained, specifically the clubhouse? That's a building that would need the air conditioning running so that mold doesn't develop in that building. That's number one. So the first question is, are those buildings being maintained and protected and preserved? And secondly, can they be leased? Could we put those buildings into productive use, especially the 3, not the restrooms, of course, out on the golf course, but the 3 that are right there by the entrance to the airport, I think have commercial value. I think even the clubhouse does. I think there might be somebody who wanted to do an event center, for wedding receptions and so forth. You got a big ballroom area, you got a bar, you got a commercial kitchen, you got a large parking lot, et cetera, et cetera. And so I'm wondering whether or not we could put those to productive use, lease those buildings out, those warehouse, the cart barn and the maintenance building. I've never been in those buildings, but they theoretically somebody could use those for storage or maybe some kind of a commercial operation, and it could generate some revenue for the airport in a time when we're obviously now have lost the revenue from the golf course as a tenant. So maybe at the next meeting you could come back to us and respond to those 2 questions.
I will tell you that the one thing that has kept us from doing anything with those buildings was the bankruptcy proceedings. And I'm not even sure if they've removed all of the items from, have they had the auction yet, Randy? So we've been precluded from doing anything in there. I do not believe we have the air conditioning running, but let me see, I got a text from Robert Carolyn. He says yes and yes, that yes, we are maintaining them, so the air conditioning is running. And we will come back to you with a plan for those facilities or leasing them out, as well as for the property south of Airport Road. So we have a plan to come back to you with that information.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Robert.
Commissioner Selby, and thank you, City Manager Shanahan. Any other questions? Assistant City Manager Claire Whitley.
Good evening. Commissioner Kent, I know how passionate you are about the downtown and beachside, so I hope I'm not stepping on your toes here, but I drove by Publix today on East Granada, and it was, it's not, they took down the construction fence, and it's still, being worked on. It's not close to open, but it was so vibrant, and just, it was, I know all the residents are hopeful and excited about this, so it just, the signs are up, it's taking shape, and it just brightens up the whole beach side. So I'm just very excited to see that happening, and I think the residents will really enjoy getting that back in the area. So thank you. Good night.
Thank you. City Attorney Randy Hayes. Thank you. And tonight we start with Commissioner Kent.
Thank you. Just a couple of comments. Chief Severs, I am so sorry Wyatt and I are going to miss some of the grand festivities you have planned. It's a big week for our fire department, but this is what happens from time to time. So we'll take a rain check and take a look at the fire trucks another day. I just also, Joyce, wanted to thank you and Randy and your staff for being able to get me and make sure that I was a part of this meeting with some super late notice. I called you, pretty late in the afternoon yesterday, Joyce. And, with that, I just tell everybody, hey, stay safe and have a nice evening.
Thank you. And Deputy Mayor Persis.
Good evening, everyone. I just want to also welcome Aaron Irwin to Ormond Beach. Nice to see you. Can't wait to meet you personally, even without a mask at some point. But thank you for being our new IT director. I know you're going to do a great job, so welcome. Also, I would like to tell staff I thought our Parks and Recs meeting today was just a fabulous meeting. I was very impressed with the presenters, and I know we're going to do some more great things for the city of Ormond Beach. So I thought that was wonderful. And I, too, drove by Publix today, Claire, and saw that the fence was down, and they're putting in landscaping, and it just looks fabulous. So another wonderful addition to our city. And lastly, I believe this week we have a new restaurant opening at the trails called the Burtwood Tavern, and that's opening. The menu looks fabulous. I can't wait to go. I think it's going to be another very popular place, just like So Napa is. So check and see when it's open. I think this week sometime. If not, it may be open now. I'm not sure. Is it open? Oh, okay. First day. So anyway, another great place for all of us to go out and enjoy. So thank you, everyone. Have a good night and stay safe.
Thank you. Commissioner Little.
I have no comments tonight, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And Commissioner Selby.
Thank you, Mayor. A couple of quick comments. The legislative priorities package I really perceive that the next 3 years could be a really golden time for us. With Tom Leake, one of our local representatives, he will ascend to most likely to chair of appropriations, and our other representative, Paul Renner, who's going to be Speaker of the House, not this coming session, but the 2 sessions after that. And so I think it's really, really important that this commission get our collective minds together and be certain that we ask for as many things as we can possibly think of, because when the leadership is home based, that's when you have the greatest opportunity to reap rewards. And so to that end, I'd like to propose that we have a discussion item on our next agenda, on the September 8th agenda, for where we can all talk about, come back together with funding requests, things that we think the city of Ormond Beach should be asking for or could ask for from the state of Florida. That would give us the second meeting, which I think is the 23rd of September, to finalize that. And it would be prior to the October 6th meeting with the delegation in DeLand, so that we would have we'd have ample opportunity to do that. So with that, I don't know if does that require a motion to have a discussion item, or how does that work, Randy?
I think Joyce can set that. I know we've already had discussions with Representative Leak. I met with him personally, and so I think timing-wise now is about the appropriate time for that, and I think that'll be a good discussion.
Very good.
Yep.
And thank you. That's great. I left a flyer on your at each of your seats regarding the Celtic Festival. It is it's coming up in just a few weeks. It's September 11th and 12th, 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. on Saturday, the 11th, September 11th, and 10 to 5 or 11 to 5 on Sunday. There's I don't remember exactly 15 bands. I think there's going to be games on both days. It's really going to be they're expecting a huge crowd, and it should be a great event. And also, I want you to be aware that because this is the anniversary of 9/11, at approximately 12:20 on Saturday the 11th, there will be a remembrance ceremony, and we are all invited to be there and to participate in that, if you're able. So you might want to let Julia know if you're able to participate in that. And then finally, my last announcement is that at 3:56 a.m. this morning, McKay Gracie Selby, my 5th grandchild, was born to my son Kyle and Kelly at Halifax Hospital. McKay she's 6 pounds 6 ounces. Mom and the baby are doing great, and hopefully they'll be home tomorrow. Yeah, we're hoping they'll be home tomorrow. So with that, I'll say good night.
Awesome. Thank you. And the only other thing I had was the September 11th Memorial Walk that the City of Ormond Beach is putting on. Starts at 7:50 in the David Hood Plaza right out here. And you can walk with our first responders, police and fire, across the bridge in memory and celebration of the 9/11 anniversary, 20th anniversary, as a matter of fact. So I'm sure there'll be a huge crowd out there, and look forward to having everybody show up and have a great remembrance and anniversary walk. And with that, we are adjourned. Thank you all very much.